Don't be a narc, we'll light up your spark. It's time for nerd shit in the
Whoa!
Whoa,
Brayden!
whoa.
Brayden, do you hear me?
Brr. I can.
There's snow everywhere!
Barely.
What are we gonna
It's
do?
flurrying. It's sleeting.
It's cold!
It's snowing.
The
it's
roads,
cold.
they're so bad. I don't know if we're gonna be able to podcast
can't.
together.
I can't see anything. It looks like frickin' Santa Claus jizzed all over my windshield wiper right now.
Oh God! If it's snowing like this and you have Santa Claus jizz all over your windshield, oh no!
Yeah.
Okay, I got a plan. Bear with
What's
me.
the plan?
Since we can't drive and be with each other together, I have a cup that I have two cups, and there's string going in between them. Now I can use a big throw in between each of my long rests, and I can throw one of these cups to you so we can do the show, so the shitters have something to listen to this week.
That's great, because I'll just have to use my one action to pick it up.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Did you get it? This is me talking into my cup.
Barely. I barely got it, but I can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and
1,
clear.
2, 3. All right, good.
Oh, thank God. I was really worried with the bad weather and where we live that we wouldn't be able to do the show, and we'd really let the shitters down.
I know. Luckily, technology with string cups has advanced so far that.
And I just leveled up recently and learned that trick where I can throw it in between long rests.
Yeah, that was
really far.
impressive. You couldn't do that before. That would have come in handy.
Yeah, I've been leveling up lately.
2 acts ago.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? You know you'd rather be here in the flesh if you could.
Oh, definitely. In the flesh, in the skin.
It's kind of a throwback episode in a weird way. A lot of our shitters don't know this, but like for a long time, you and I did the show just over chat online.
Yeah.
Or over cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was living in Houston.
Yeah. That was different. I couldn't throw the cup that far. We figured out a different way.
Right.
So it's like that again, but now it's going to be better than that. We've learned so much over the years.
Yeah, we've grown in experience.
Yeah.
We aren't the spry young bucks we used to be, but we definitely gained knowledge.
And power.
In power and influence in our lives.
Yeah. Wow. It's beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
Welcome
That's the
back.
perks of aging.
That is, yeah. There's got to be some, am I right? Oof.
Right.
Oof.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Start popping kids.
Yeah. And your back hurts all the time. No. Stop right there. Welcome back to Nerd Shit in the Dark, everybody.
Welcome, everyone.
It's us, your hosts, Chase the Chaz Screepeck and Brayden the Brad Neilster.
Brad Neilster. That's me.
That is you. Ready to break it down. We got a lot we want to cover tonight. A lot. So,
a lot.
Keeping it juicy, keeping it fresh. I think I just want to start off with addressing some new things coming at Nerd Shit in the Dark.
That's right, because we do have quite a bit of new things coming up. So
quite a bit of new things coming up. Quite a bit of new things. Firstly, I think I just want to address. Actually, we'll start with the podcast is on lots of things now. So if Spotify and Apple Podcasts weren't doing it for you, and maybe you're listening on YouTube and you want to listen somewhere else, we're on fucking everything at this point, basically. Yeah. Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible,
Tubi.
Right, yeah. I haven't got to deal with Tubi yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But like anywhere podcasts are, we are there. We're there. And trying to get this shit going even farther. And one thing that Brayden and I worked on together, it was actually his idea. He got a hold of me for it, for our... You've probably followed us enough to know that we've been kind of trying to do something with our In the Dark segment, and we've done like 2 or 3 other things, but I think we found something that's really good. Brayden, why don't you tell them about it?
So I figured, what better way to encapsulate the In the Dark segment than choosing things that at least the other person is in the dark about. So basically how it goes down is that we each choose a piece of media, typically a movie or a TV show or a movie, most likely a movie, that we're not going to inform the other one of what it's going to be before we watch it. We're just going to plop in the movie. We're going to sit down and watch it. So it could be literally anything that we choose. And we're going to try and like surprise each other, try and one up each other with kind of the zany, wacky movie ideas we come up with and make each other watch.
Yeah.
So the other person will have no idea what we're watching before we start, and hijinks ensues. You know how it goes at this point, shitters.
Yeah, you have to. We have some fun, and I think we're gonna do two. He'll pick one, I'll pick one. So like we've been doing, we'll watch multiple movies, and we'll give our immediate
test on it.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. I think it's a solid way
fun.
to. This is our definite in the dark segment because this is a fun. I've already got a few movies I'm really excited to watch. I'm having some fun with this. Like, I have 2 movies already lined up that I don't think you'd ever be able to predict.
I don't think you'd be able to predict mine.
That's awesome.
Either. Yeah, so
that's fantastic. That's perfect.
Because the goal is to surprise the other one.
Yeah. I think my first one, I think it will surprise you. I think it'll surprise you because one of the things I'm focusing on is not just movies I haven't seen before, but also movies that I haven't seen in a very, very long time. Yeah. That I've been meaning to always watch again, and I think this is a good opportunity for that. So,
my methodology is movies that I haven't seen before, but movies that I also would probably never see if it weren't for this segment. That like I would never choose on my own to see, but to take this opportunity to kind of even surprise myself. Like I'll be in the dark a little bit about it as well. Like I'll do a little research on it. Try and figure out what sounds like we could make an episode out of, and then just go from there. But we are going to have some movies where probably one or the other have seen before, or maybe both of us have seen it, because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
We can't check in with the other one to see if they've actually seen this movie or not, because that would spoil the In the Dark segment.
They're in the dark. They have to be in the dark. Yeah. So, if it wasn't for this shitty ass snow, I was really excited to get this taken off, but we will get there.
There's a big flurry.
Oh, whoa! Hold on your cup, dude. Hold on your cup.
Are you still there?
I'm good. I would hate to have to take a long rest in the middle of this podcast to do this cup thing again. We're probably going to get hit by a few of those.
We don't have enough camp supplies for that many long rests.
Nope. And the closest camp supply I got to me right now is an empty baby bottle, and that's fucking nothing. It's like negative.
I just have my
supplies. Ooh, yeah.
And I don't want to go there.
No.
He keeps me company. She keeps me warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She keeps my house hot.
Good. So, hold on to your cup.
Hold on to it.
So, and with that new segment, I also want to kind of throw out this as well. This is like a long-term project. It's definitely free for now, but we also have a Patreon that I made. I'm not really certain how to use it, but I think something fun we could throw on to the Patreon to make it worth something eventually is like we talked about videotaping us watching it and like our reactions.
Yeah,
that could be something that you could put on there.
We could become what you hate the most,
but in a normal way, in a way. And I cut it. No. It's different. That's different.
It's different because we're doing it.
But we're funny. We're actually funny. And dude, us watching Lord of the Rings, that was funny fucking stuff that we were coming up with.
It was really funny. I still make jokes to Kaylee about the pan flute thing.
Oh, fuck yeah. The whole thing. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I don't think we'd become the kind of people that are like shit, like fake reactors. It would just be us. Act like the camera's not on. That's something I'm thinking about throwing up on the Patreon. I also thought about doing a segment, like maybe I'll just record something for like the Patreon, and I called it the chase base, so it would just be me talking about like one topic for like 35 to 40 minutes as something extra on the Patreon. So I don't know, I'm trying to figure out things. I'm trying to figure out how to use Patreon. Yeah, and I want to make stuff that, you know, I'm not gonna make anybody pay now, but like, you know, down the road maybe like something worth maybe
figure out how to make money off of this.
Am I right or am I right, dude? I just
fucking day jobs.
Yeah, no, No, support your local libraries.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was about to say.
You. Are we playing the pronoun game? We.
I forgot what I was going to say.
They.
Mm-hmm.
Them. Us.
Patreon. Oh, I signed up for my first like Patreon. Like I follow somebody on I'm paying somebody to listen to their podcast, like extra shit for the first time.
Okay.
I've never been like I just downloaded Patreon. And it was because I listened to this one podcast on Spotify, and he had like extra podcasts for only like $3 a month. I was like, $3 a month,
deal.
and I like listening. It's Remember the Game is the name of the podcast, and it's this
Remember
guy. He talks. This is a shout out to him because he talks video like old video games, retro video games, and like he gets a guest on, and they talk for about an hour about like all these games, and like it goes like up to 360. Love it. It's a great. He's a great host.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool concept.
And his extra shit was totally worth it. So yeah, I'd like to
So
follow
one
on
day
that.
that might be us shitters.
Yeah. Adam Blank. I think his name's Adam Blank.
Adam Blank, like Adam blank line, fill in the blank. Is that his legitimate last name?
No, that's his legitimate last name. Yeah, Adam Blank.
That's a cool last name. I feel like you can make a lot of jokes with that.
You know, some of the names that he has like on his Patreon, they make like little puns with his name, and it's pretty funny. But I really enjoyed listening to him over the past couple of years, and I figured, hey, give some money.
Give him the old shitter bump.
The old shit bump.
The shit bump.
The dark bump. We'll work on. We're still working on things here, everybody.
We're stopping it.
Those are things we've gone on for quite some time, but those are things to look out for in the future.
Yep.
In nerd shit in the dark.
Get your string cups ready, get your binoculars, and look out for it. Because we're coming.
We're coming
around the horizon. As soon as the snowstorm recedes, keep a lookout.
It's fucking game time.
Yeah.
So
you want to hop in?
I want to hop the fuck into it. I want to hop into
hop into it like we're
nerd
fucking
shit. New nerd shit. Our favorite and oldest segment.
Yep, really our first segment.
It was our first segment.
An oldest segment, and we used to have weeb shit. We cut that because most people don't care. We realized.
Yeah. We wiggle anime in when we can, but we don't talk about it for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's not half of our podcast anymore.
No. And I just love it. And we're just today's episode is basically just a lot of new nerd shit. And I hope you're all ready for it.
I mentioned I have around 3 things. How many things did you have?
I have I'd say a solid 4. 2 of those 4 are like halfers, I guess, but then I have another one that's like a half. So like 5 things.
Okay.
Wow. And I'm really excited to talk about most of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you want this to go? Do we want to start off small with my new nerd shit and then go into bigger stuff with yours?
I would like to progressively get bigger. So one of my things is a smaller, like it's I'm liking it, but it's a smaller one. How about you start with your small? We'll grow, and then I'll go, and then boom, boom, boom.
Okay. Well, I'll get right into it then.
Do it.
So the first new nerd shit I wanted to talk about is actually an old nerd shit throwback, but this time from my side instead of your side, Chase.
Oh, fuck. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I saw you playing something this week.
We've talked about this before.
And you know what's funny? That episode got taken down. So, like, if you heard it, you heard it. There were 8 people, I think, that heard it. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's like a lost episode.
Sure is.
So, yeah, you can get the new scoop right here.
I dig it.
So, I guess since only 8 people heard it, I guess I can just reintroduce it. But
boom, do it. Yeah, might as well. That's all I know how to talk about with it.
Yeah. My new nerd shit. First thing is I've been playing Persona 5, and I've been absolutely Royale. Yeah. Like Casino Royale, not Royal. Persona 5 Royal, which is like the extra content remastered version, pretty much.
Basically.
And I've been super addicted. So the whole thing that I've heard about Persona games that always turned me off from them is that they're basically very, very long games.
Yes.
And I didn't really know what they meant by that. I just knew that these were beloved games and they're like incredibly long. But I eventually
bit the bullet.
There's some meat on the bone. I bit the bullet and got Persona 5 because it's a hugely critically acclaimed game.
Absolutely.
Everyone that I've heard who who's played through those games love them. And I had no idea what the Persona games are about, like, at all. Like, I had no point of reference besides the little bit that you talked about them with, and even then I was just more confused than intrigued by it, because it didn't sound like
from what I told you about it, it was kind of the beginning of the game.
Right, yeah, you were in the very beginning of the game.
Which I do want to address some of that stuff again here, since, it's been taken down, but go on.
Right. Yeah, so basically the premise of the Persona games, it's going to sound kind of kooky, but you essentially live the life of a Japanese high school student. The games are long because they take place throughout an entire year of high school. And not only are you a high school student, but you also moonlight as what's known as a phantom thief. So a phantom thief is someone who can go into the cognitive universe. They call it like the metaverse, I believe they call. And in the metaverse, you can
think
get into
Psychonauts.
Yeah, think Psychonauts. It's similar to Psychonauts in that way, where you can go into what they call palaces, where certain people who have distorted minds or distorted hearts create these palaces in their minds, and like they're basically the way that this person sees the world. And in these palaces, it lies the person's heart. So phantom thieves can break into these palaces and steal someone's heart. And when you steal someone's heart, it essentially causes their personality to do a complete 180. So you do it against evil people, essentially, or people who are committing some kind of wrongdoing in the world. And when you steal their heart, it causes their personality to change. They essentially become remorseful, and they change their ways, whether they turn themselves into the police or they just become a good person. That's essentially the whole gist of the game.
Think Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, think Ni no Kuni. I also noticed a lot of parallels with Ni no Kuni, where it's changing people with broken or distorted hearts into becoming better people. I never realized that was like a genre in Japanese media before, but I guess it is common for like there to be some kind of metaverse or alternate reality that you can go in and change the way people think in the real world. And you go back and forth. You can go back and forth between the real world.
Yeah, Japanese people love that shtick.
Yeah, and I've never heard of it
Arts.
before. Yeah, and it's very strange trying to explain it to like an American or an American audience, because it's just so different from like what our kind of media tropes are like. Like, it sounds so out of there and off the wall, but it's actually a pretty common trope in a lot of Japanese media, I've noticed.
Yeah, totally.
And I mentioned on top of that you're also a Japanese high school student. Yeah. So you literally have to just live the life of a Japanese high school student on top of the Phantom Thief stuff. The Phantom Thief stuff is literally like a third of the game. The other 2/3 is you hanging out with your friends, doing your schoolwork, working
cleaning
on your
room.
Cleaning your room.
That's what I remember doing. I was like, what the fuck is this game?
Which sounds very boring on the surface, but I promise you, once you get immersed into this world and you get connected to these characters, you get like
you're in
so
it to win
into
it. I believe.
Like I remember like wanting to get like I like the Phantom Thief stuff because that's like the actual like actiony part of the game. Mm-hmm. And I guess I should talk about the action part of the game for a little bit too, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But like, yeah, I remember like there's certain like it goes through like months of a school year, and you'll have like a new target to rob their heart for each month. And you come about these targets in various ways throughout the story. But I remember wanting to get through their palaces as quickly as possible so I could go back to the real world and live out my life and hang out with my friends and like work on our relationships and stuff, because they're all interconnected.
Makes it feel real.
Yeah, there's essentially 3 aspects to the game. There's an aspect of working on yourself, on your personality. You have 5 traits that you have to work on that you get like skill points in. It's charisma, kindness, guts, proficiency, and knowledge. And there's various activities throughout the world that you can do that increases those aspects of the personality. And when you level up these aspects of your personality, you unlock new things in the games, whether you can unlock a new friend to make, or you can unlock like a different area or whatever, but you might need a certain level of guts. Like for the one guy, I needed like level 4 guts. I needed to be dauntless to be able to talk to him, and he became my friend. And I'll segue that into the next part of the game, which is they call them confidants, but I just call them friends. Where you meet various characters throughout the story that you gain a confidant relationship with. And most of them have like a level to their friendship between 1 to 10. And the more you hang out with them, the more your confidant rank with them will increase. And the more that increases, the more of like story you unlock with that friend. Because they all each have their personal stories and whatnot. But that also...
Think Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Think Baldur's Gate 3. There's a lot of influences. But the confidant ranks also have a factor into the third part of the game, which is the Phantom Thieves part.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so basically each confidant is the equivalent of like a tarot card. So like there's the tarot card of the Empress, there's the tarot card of the Hanged Man, of the Hermit, of the Priestess, that each corresponds to this person's personality. And that is important because basically in the Phantom Thieves part of the game, you have to collect and level up and combine what are known as personas. That's
Explain
where the
personas.
So personas are essentially, if anyone has seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, think stands. Personas are essentially like personifications of this person's will, and they take the form of like a spirit or a character that has like some kind of badass quality. They have like different elemental attacks to
and you
them.
And you can get multiple.
Yeah.
So you kind of collect them, you kind of catch them.
You catch, you catch the
Pokemon.
Think Pokemon, where there's a Pokemon aspect to this, because you can go into people's palaces and you have to fight what are called shadows, and shadows are like, manifestations of other people's personas, and you can steal those shadows and make them your own. And you can combine shadows together to make stronger shadows.
What can you live with yourself if you steal someone's shadow?
Yes, very easily. But it's important to rank up your confidants because each persona has a tarot card type as well. Like they have like a type for the Priestess and a type for the Hanged Man. And depending on your confidant rank with that particular person in the real world, it will give that persona extra experience in the metaverse. And so they'll become stronger in the metaverse, the stronger your friendship becomes in the real world. Very convoluted, I know, but it works really, really well, trust me. And your character is special because he's the only one who can steal other people's personas and make them his own. And I still haven't gotten to the part of the game of like where they explain why that is, but he's special in some way. Joker is your character's nickname. But you meet characters throughout the game that become a part of your Phantom Thieves team, and they all get their own personas as well. And you can control them in battle.
Think Digimon.
And the scenes where they awaken their personas, because each one gets a scene where like they are pulled into the metaverse for some kind of reason, and they awaken their persona because they finally realize, like they come to some kind of conclusion within themselves, and it allows them to become like their true self, and their persona awakens, and each scene is so badass. And similar to Ni no Kuni, there are cutscenes that are animated, like it's an anime. It's like really well done.
Yeah.
Pretty nice anime, I would say.
And fine, last gen cutscenes.
Yeah. And you get to go through this world with these characters. Each character itself has a confidant rank as well, so you can hang out with them and boost their friendship. But they go into the metaverse with you and help you, and they become a part of your team. You can take about 4 people on your team, but you get more than 4 people throughout the game. So you can like switch them out and stuff, and they all have their own specialties and skill sets. And it's really cool, and it's really fun, and I've gotten super attached to all these characters. Like I
saw you playing it pretty early in the morning the other day.
Yeah, I sometimes like I can't wait.
I was surprised you were even up.
Yeah, I just need to get in a few, because it's also an easy game to play like just a little bit of, and then put it down.
Yeah, because that's my thing with it is I downloaded it. It was on Game Pass, so it was only it's free to just download on my Xbox. But I downloaded it on my Xbox, and if I'm gonna sit to play a game like at my desk or the TV, I don't know. To me, I need to get that on my Switch or on my Steam Deck so I can have it and play it. I think I could play it a lot more if I played it, somewhere else.
Yeah, but it's because it goes through each day of the month. So you can just play one day of the month and put it down. And, the days are separated into morning, evening, night. And you can typically do at least 2 big activities each day. So either hanging out with your friends, or you can go to the metaverse and do some stuff, or you can work on a skill for your character. But each one takes time and will advance the day. And so, like, you have to kind of...
Time management, baby.
Yeah, it's a big time management game. And you have a lot of time. It gives you... Like, I think I'm only about halfway through the school year.
I've heard it's a pretty big game. Nas played it. He was the one that recommended it to me.
Yeah. And it's still, like, I'm pretty deep into the game, but I'd still say I'm only about halfway through the school year. So there's still a lot left that I have to go. The game also starts in medias res. English term for you, meaning in the middle of things, or I guess I should say at the end of things, because the very first opening scene takes place at like the end of the school year, and then
then we go back.
Yeah, your character's essentially caught by the police, and the entire story is told through your character confessing to the police what'll happen that year. And so, like, periodically you'll switch back to the actual present day where you're in the police interrogation room telling the story, and then it will go back to the school year. So it's just all a retelling of these events and how the Phantom Thieves came to be, because they also are gain fame and notoriety in the real world because they go after high profile people and change their hearts, and they gain fame throughout that. And so you also see the world kind of change progressively as you go throughout the game, and the Phantom Thieves become a bigger deal, and people start to believe in them more and start to request them to change people's hearts for them. But it's a fantastic game, super addicting. I did not think I was going to get as addicted to it as I have been, because I was like,
But you are.
Yeah, for as long as a game as it is, I'm like, it probably takes a while to actually get into. Didn't take me long at all. Probably about the first, after 1 week of in-game school, I was hooked. I was like, all right, yeah, I get where this is going. I want to see more.
All about it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're liking it. I'm glad. I've heard nothing but good things about the game. I've tried the game. I just got to give it gotta get some time.
Yeah, it's the thing. I figured it'd be good to talk about, because it didn't sound like you played through it much.
No, I hadn't. Which, before we get off of it, I do want to just bring up what was my argument as well the last time I talked about it, was that everybody fucking hates your character at the beginning of the game because you stopped a rape, and for some reason you're the bad guy.
Yes, which they actually do. They actually do explain that in the game.
I'd hope so.
Of why that is, and it makes sense.
But still, it's just so funny because your teachers are even like, "Fuck this kid, he's nothing but
everyone's
trouble." I'm like, dude, we stopped a lady from being raped. What the fuck, Japan?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a major spoiler, and it kind of
No, it's the beginning of the game. Oh,
it's kind of obvious. You
don't gotta tell me what happens, but
yeah,
I'll get there eventually. I do. It's been on my to-do list. It's on. I could probably stream it on my Steam Deck from Game Pass and give it the old try. But I'm working through other games and shit like that, so I'll get to it.
Yeah, we still gotta finish our Baldur's Gate campaign.
Sure, that's a whole other fucking thing. I gotta finish my own personal Baldur's Gate campaign as well. So that's a big thing that I'm working on as I'm playing other games, which. Yeah,
I highly recommend Persona 5. You should give it a shot if you have some time. Yeah, they're great games. But that's about most of what I had to say about it. I covered about every aspect of the game that I wanted to talk about. But yeah,
I think so.
I never thought I would be so into playing a Japanese high schooler as a 27-year-old American man.
Mm-hmm. We all have a little Japanese high schooler inside of all of us.
Yeah.
We like anime. Of course we do.
Yeah.
That's what keeps us young. Look at me.
For sure. I feel young playing this game. The whole point of this game is they hate adults because the adults in their lives don't protect them. So they take matters into their own hands. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We got to get back at these adults.
How old are these adults they're talking about? 28. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Oh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Good times.
So that's Persona 5. The second thing were you going to jump in there?
No. Go ahead.
Oh, you raised your hand up in the air like you were going to talk. I saw that through the cup.
You saw it through the cup. The cup also has a weird telescope.
Visualization.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna. I was gonna jump in with something, but it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second thing I was going to talk about,
Go.
not going to talk about it as much as Persona 5 because I haven't played as much of it, but I recently got into BattleBit. Have you heard of it before?
No.
So BattleBit. So my friend Dylan Orchid, friend of the channel, Dylan Orchid, hasn't been on yet, but I play video games with him a lot.
Dylan.
Because Chase doesn't play them with me.
I try. I play with you sometimes. We play
Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
I offered to play with you last weekend.
You did, yeah. I didn't see that message until later. But anyways.
Still counts.
So Dylan Orchid's been begging me to get BattleBit for the longest time.
Dylan.
Which it's a first-person shooter, which I don't know if you know about me, but I typically don't play first-person shooters. I hung up my Xbox controller a long time ago. With that, that was a different me back then.
Okay.
I didn't like how it changed me into a gamer. One of those gamers that gets upset at games. But it's a first-person shooter, and it's essentially if you merged Minecraft and Battlefield, the first-person shooter Battlefield, together. So it has graphics the same as Minecraft. Like, your guys all look like little Steves. Like, your soldiers look like little blocky Steves. And
my uncle Steve?
No, Steve from Minecraft.
Oh.
The Minecraft character Steve.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's called.
I was going to say, if they turned it into my Uncle Steve, I'd be calling somebody. I'd have a few things to say. I'd be like, who gave you that permission?
Right. But no, it's essentially Minecraft graphics, but Battlefield gameplay.
I'm certainly intrigued.
It's like huge lobbies. Like it's the lobbies I was playing in. It's 127 people versus 127 people.
Holy fucking God.
Yeah, huge maps. And there's vehicles, like there's helicopters, there's tanks, APVs, Humvees that you can get in. And then you have, your different Battlefield classes like Recon, Assault, Medic, Engineer, those kinds of things. And you can get into a squad of people and, your squad will have your own objectives in the map. And, it's a first-person shooter. You gotta kill more of the enemy team than they kill you. It's pretty simple. But it's really fun. Like you'd think the Minecraft twist would lessen it a little bit, but it actually kind of is charming and fun.
It makes me want to see this game. You know what I mean? Just the thought of picturing like Battlefield, but picturing it as Minecrafty looking. I'm just like, that aesthetic alone has me interested.
Yeah, and you
trying to picture it in my head.
Yeah, you place like sandbags, and the sandbags are just blocks that like you can hide behind and shoot stuff. And it's destructible environments like Battlefield, so like buildings you're in can be exploded and destroyed, and
that's funny.
The vehicles you're in can be destroyed and all that. And there's boats as well, and different tactics you can use. And you have to be pretty. It's just like Battlefield, but the twist is it's also Minecraft.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now you can't do Minecraft things like burrow underground with a pickaxe or anything.
Right.
Or like
don't want to do that. Yeah. Don't want to do
anything.
that.
Yeah. It's not that like that, but it's just like
it looks like Minecraft.
It looks like Minecraft, and certain aspects of Minecraft are put into the game where like you can place blocks to block off an entrance, or you can place blocks to climb up a building or stuff like that. Yeah. And it's cool. The huge lobbies are also fun because it's like you feel like you're in an actual
enormous battlefield of people.
Yeah, you feel like you're in an actual war zone. And, you feel like you're in a war zone. I typically try to be a sniper. I am terrible at it. It's been a long time since I've played any first-person shooters, so I am a scrub. I'm still learning, but it's, about as addicting as any. Yeah, it's about as addicting as any first-person shooter can be. You just keep doing more matches and keep trying to get your objectives and work with your teammates, and
I'd
it's fun if you
probably
get
say I've spent a high percentage of my gaming life playing online shooters.
Yeah, I typically tend to avoid them, but this is the one that got me back into them.
I haven't played in a while. Like Halo's usually it anymore.
Because, like I said, it turns me into a first-person shooter gamer. I get angry, and I'm like,
the anger, Braden.
Fucking rush B.
But you don't get mad at games normally, like when you play other games. Wow,
quiet as a mouse.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck. I get mad, man. I get pretty into games when I'm playing them.
I mean, if I'm playing something like Final Fantasy or something, like I can get upset.
Dude, if I'm playing online with my friends, I'm a monster.
Yeah. That's I feel like it's turning me back into one.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. I welcome it because it's still a fun time. And
what's it called again?
I love BattleBit.
BattleBit. I am interested. It's on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam. It's about, I think it's like $15 or $20.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, and it's only like
hella
2
cheap
gig.
at a sale.
Yeah, it's only like 2 gigabytes, so it's like no space at all on your computer.
I can just put it on my fucking Steam Deck and ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah.
The fucking reason I got the Steam Deck was so that I could play Halo online on my Steam Deck, and
Yeah.
I haven't done that a lot. I'd like to.
Well, you should totally join. I think it's crossplay. We could be on a squad together because that's the whole thing. You can like spawn on your squad mates.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I will look into it. It's tough because I am playing another game right now, and I'm totally looking forward to that fucking Pal World game on Thursday. Cannot wait to play and talk about that.
That's right. That's coming on. Yeah, we'll give that an honorable mention in the end, but we don't have much to say about it right now.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
We'll swing back around. I'm pumped, and I got plans for that fucking shit too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I can't download and try another one. I'll look into it.
Yeah, totally.
And
that's yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say for anybody else out there that Braden just sold you on either one of those games he was talking about, he's got good taste in shit like this. I'd take his word for it and spend your hard-earned cash. And don't forget who led you there.
Yeah, highly recommend. It's a fun game. It's a popular game too. It's popping off. Like like a lot of people are getting into it too.
It's interesting. I have 2 games I'm going to talk about. One of them I'm really enjoying. I just started it today, but I'm really enjoying it. And another I've been wanting to tell you about for like a week, but I was like, because I was going to text you and be like, dude, I'm playing a game. I think you'd love it. I think you'd absolutely love it. And
I'm excited to hear about it.
That's my second game, but that's kind of my bigger one. So I'll start with my smaller one first. So
wait, can I say my last thing?
Oh yeah. I thought that was it.
No, my last thing's pretty short.
Okay.
But essentially, my last thing's not a video game. I mentioned to you before we started the podcast, it's a YouTube video, but it's related to a movie. So I recently discovered that the entire cast commentary for all of the Lord of the Rings movies are on YouTube. So all 3 hours for each commentary. Well, actually, I think it's 3 hours for Fellowship, 3 hours for Two Towers, and then there's 2 2.5 hour ones for Return of the King.
Makes sense.
Are all on YouTube, and I have just been having them on in the background while I've been playing other games and stuff, and it's been awesome. So when I originally had the DVDs, we did have the cast commentary, but I never was interested in them because I just didn't have the attention span for it as a little kid.
Sure.
Like I wasn't really interested in behind the scenes stuff about Lord of the Rings.
Now you
are. Ever since we watched Return of the King, and then I've also rewatched all of them recently with Kaylee, my girlfriend. We just finished Return of the King yesterday. She loved it. She was blown away because she's never seen it. Mm-hmm. But it made me get more into Lord of the Rings. And so my YouTube, ever spying on me, picked up on that and started pushing those out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turned them on, not thinking I was going to listen to too much of them because they are over 3 hours long.
The whole couple movies, yeah.
Yeah, but I love them. It's essentially, it's all the cast just giving their commentary, giving their behind the scenes takes, but it's like ASMR almost because they're almost all of them are British, and for some reason they're all very soft spoken on the commentary where they're just like very calmly speaking, and it's like their voices are like butter. Like it's just so relaxing just to have on in the background.
Just like in the movies.
And then like every once in a while I'll hear something like really interesting that I never knew about the movies. Like I didn't know that most of like the organized marches with orcs in The Return of the King are soldiers, like actual soldiers that they got from a military base that was nearby in New Zealand, that they just like put them in orc armor for a day and had them march and shit and have them be the extras. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool.
I know that they used Alka-Seltzer tablets to give Frodo the foam at the mouth after he was stabbed by Shelob.
Makes sense.
Found out that Elijah Wood smoked cigarettes, and Sean Astin would sit in the back seat of the car every time because he wanted to, be immersed in the Sam Frodo relationship. So he'd always let Elijah Wood sit up front, and then Elijah would be smoking his cigarette, and ash would fly back into Sean Astin's face, and it reminded him of his mother when he was 14 because his mother did the same thing.
He was like Sean Ashton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. I just got it. And for a second, I was like, am I saying his name wrong?
No. that silence in between, I was like, oh fuck. Am I higher than I think I am? Or
No, that was a good joke. He was Sean Ashton.
Yeah.
No, that was a good joke.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's just like little tidbits like that I never knew about these movies that I've seen over a dozen times before, and it was like me rediscovering my love for them all again. And now I want to reread the books again. Kickstarting back my Lord of the Rings phase once again, which I'm always happy when I go through a Lord of the Rings phase.
Hard not to be.
Yep. So, like I said, it was pretty short, but they're all available on YouTube. The YouTube channel I use is MB Archives. M as in Mike, B as in Bravo, Archives. So if you want to look them up, if you've never seen the cast commentary before and you don't want to go out and buy a DVD, I recommend you check them out because they, like I said, they're lovely, even just to have on in the background playing while you're doing something else.
I got them in that, that big anniversary collection set that I got a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I've never watched them. I've probably seen like bits and pieces of them on the internet. You know what I mean? But I've never popped them in and just like listened.
If you're a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, you will love them. You will find something. If you've never seen them before, you will learn something about the movies that you didn't know before. You'll likely learn a lot of things about the movies that you didn't know before. Like the cast commentary, I've known and have always been hyped for a long time, but I just never had the time for them. But with them being on YouTube, they're easy to just throw on and be doing something else, and you'll just be hearing Viggo Mortensen's sexy voice in your ear the whole time while you're doing laundry or something.
What does your heart tell you?
What does your heart tell you?
That was pretty good, man.
Thanks. I just watched it.
Yeah. It's very fresh. That's great.
Yeah. Which I was super hyped the entire time we were watching Return of the King. I could not sit down. I normally can't sit down, but the whole time Kaylee was like sitting down underneath the covers because it's cold in my basement, and I was like, I'm sorry, like I cannot sit for these movies. Like I have to be up and
the bass, yeah.
Yeah, because it's so hype. Like I just get so hyped, and I was so happy for her to see them, and she loved them, and so that made me really happy. I said Lord of the Rings gained a new fan with her.
Of course, because any life that truly listens and watches Lord of the Rings always gains Lord of the Rings a new fan. Because that shit is tight. Yeah.
They are.
But I'm glad she really enjoyed it.
Yep.
We will.
She cried.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Duh. Her and I both, man. Fuck.
Oh, yeah. I told her the parts that you cry at.
It's always changing, but I mean, there are some pretty. Yeah. Fuck, man. Ugh, so good. We gotta have her on sometime and have her. I'd love to just hear her. I'd love to get Sam back on and her and have them both just talk about their Lord of the Rings experience.
Her experience, I know. Well, she says that she hopes one day she'll be able to listen in on our podcast. And I said, you're not going to be listening in. You're going to be a part of it.
Yeah, you're going to be on it for that. We'll get that in the books. I'll talk to Sam. We'll get that. Sam or Kai, if either of you are listening to this episode, you know who you are. And I want you guys ready to go for this.
The audience knows who they are too, because they are past guests.
That's true. So, can't wait. Lord of the Rings, dig it. I'll probably look into that, especially if it's on YouTube. It was always like I didn't feel like putting a disc in my PlayStation.
That's the thing. I was like, I just
YouTube,
never.
Fuck it.
Roll just lazy. And YouTube is just you pull them up, have them play. You don't have to listen to the whole thing. Yeah. You can just pause them. But I listened to them the whole way through. I was surprised.
It's fun when you get into things like that. I've like fallen into things like that in other YouTube type of rabbit holes, and it's always a fun time in my life.
Yeah, I had a great time. I was sad when it was closed because I'm like, what? They're 3 hours. Like, how is it over?
Where can I get more? I need my fixin'. I need my Lord of the Rings fixin'. I'll read a book again. I'll watch the movies again. Give me something. I'm playing Shadow of Mordor.
Great game, by the way.
Yeah. But speaking of great games,
yes,
I got a couple I want to talk about.
I'm excited to hear it.
So the first one, like I said, my smaller one just started it today. I got the new Prince of Persia.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Not him
the
this
Persian
time.
prince himself.
The Persians want him.
Yeah.
They were mad, but they were like, oh, but so good. So good.
I wish he was actually Persian.
Didn't we all? Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown just came out today. Actually, it's the latest in the series of video games. Have you seen anything about this one?
Long series of video games. No, I haven't seen it. The last Prince of Persia I played was for PS2, and I did not get far through them. But they're fun games.
They are, and they change a lot over the years. So this one was interesting. This one piqued my interest early on. They announced it earlier, I guess last year now, and showed clips and shit for it. And I was like, oh, a new Prince of Persia, cool. Like it looked like it was a Metroidvania. They made it like a Metroidvania type of gameplay, and I was like, I'm big into those. Those are some Shovel Knight, fucking Hollow Knight, Ori, shit like that. I see
Ori
it.
Knight.
I'm interested in it, so I've been keeping my eye on it. But as it was coming out to release, like all these people who were like kind of like whatever about it started getting like hyped about it. They could play it, like IGN was playing it at a time, people on YouTube were playing it at a time, saying like, oh, this is pretty fucking good. And then the reviews came out last week and it was getting like 8s and 9s across the board, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna pre-order this game. This is probably one of my top 3 favorite types of games, Metroidvanias. I know Prince of Persia enough. I've seen Jake Gyllenhaal in multiple roles.
Right.
Let's go. So I downloaded it. I started playing it today. And dude, I think it's pretty fucking good. I think it's an exceptionally well done, this type of game, implemented in the Prince of Persia type of lore. And it's just a fucking bop. Like, you've played Hollow Knight, right?
No.
Oh, okay, fuck.
I played Ori.
It plays more like Hollow Knight than Ori, but also very similar to like the second Ori game. Oh my god. So like the platforming is so much fun. Let me start with like the basic story of this one.
Yeah.
You are a character. You are a character. So typically in these games you play as the prince. You don't play as the Prince of Persia in this one. You play as a dude. I don't remember his name. I just started playing it today, but he's part of this group called the Immortals. They're not actually immortal. That's just what they call their group. But they're like powered Persian warriors. And
you show up in 300.
Yeah, but like think like more like they've got like anime-esque ability levels of like sword and bow and shit like that type of group. And
which the Immortals were actually historically Persian warriors, but I don't think they could do anime moves.
Probably what they were based off of for this game then.
Yeah.
And then the prince gets kidnapped by someone, and you follow, because like your job is to kind of protect him, so you follow to this like mountain that's all fucked up from time, because all these games are always about like time and timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly types of fucking shit.
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey shit.
Yep. Mountain. And you're going through all these trials to save this prince, and that's the best way I can describe the plot. Was getting too into it. The story's pretty fun. The cutscenes are pretty dope. There was this one that was just like full on fucking anime battle, and I was all about it with like weapons and shit. But I don't know if I want to talk about the platforming in it. If you're like into that kind of, getting to platforms and finding puzzles to get your way through certain areas.
Yeah, a lot of puzzle,
dude,
solving, a lot of jump puzzles.
So fun. Yeah. I played this game basically all day today. I couldn't put it down. So like that portion of it, what a bop. Like, yes. Then there's the combat, and it's like you wouldn't think side-scrolling slashy could be too in-depth control-wise, but fuck did they make it work in this. Like, there is, like, you can block, you can parry. Like, parrying is a big thing. So when things swing at you, you can do a parry and you can strike. Or if you fuck up a parry, you get, like, hurt extra for fucking up your parry than you would have if you would have just took the hit. So it like punishes you.
Risk and reward kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's so smooth and fun like that like you're just flying through, you're going through battle, and it's difficult too. Like the fights, like I started it this morning. It was kind of like Baldur's Gate in a way of like when you start, you're just so prone to getting hurt that you die so much, but then you get like items and abilities along the way, and like you start like in Hollow Knight you get like
slowly become broken,
right? Like you get amulets that you can place that gives you like extra abilities, extra perks. So it's got like an RPG type of element, kind of like Hollow Knight does. So like you're equipping to your guy, you're making him better. It makes for better puzzling or puzzle solving, and the fighting is just dope. And these boss fights are so challenging, but also so rewarding. Like, because you're also solving a puzzle while you're doing the battle, but you're also having a good time with it.
Right. It's not the level of frustration doesn't eclipse the amount of fun you're having.
And you
that's
die.
My problem. That's my problem with certain difficult games is that like they're so difficult that it becomes more frustrating than fun.
Yeah. You do die, and it gets a little frustrating. That's for me, a guy who gets frustrated. But for the most part, I'm just having a good time.
Healthy amounts.
Yeah. So that's just so refreshing, and it's like
a game that rewards you for learning how to play the game better.
Yeah, and I put it on the hard difficulty, so like not the hardest, but the third tier. And it is challenging, but in a fun, I know I can go back and I can get it this next time if I do die type of way. And you can work out different ways to go like through a certain, like just a boss today, he kicked my ass and I was just like, I just can't get his health down super fast. But I do have an amulet that if my health is full, my attacks will do extra. And like, I could not beat this guy for probably about 4 tries. I put that amulet on and I fucking kicked his candy ass. I didn't, because that's the thing. I was like, I know I can't get hurt to keep this extra strength. So I didn't let him fucking touch me. And I basically had full strength the whole time. And it was just cool and then I went back, I took that amulet off. I put another one that had a different ability that I needed back on. But like, it's fun, man. It's fun. It's a really good, like I've only played a couple Prince of Persia games myself. This one, I intend to play it the rest of this week. In fact, I was playing it before we hopped on here tonight.
I believe the one I played was Sands of Time.
That's
the
like
one
the
where
like the most popular one.
Yeah, the one where you could like slow down time at certain points. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of plays like that, but differently and more smooth. And like I like how the cutscene, like there's like cut scenes from time to time, but a lot of it's just like dialogue, like how it's done in Hades. It's almost it reminds me exactly of how like dialogue is done in Hades.
Yeah, like text blocks. You can skip through it if you want.
Little character. Yeah, if you read it, you can just hit A and move on. And I'll do that sometimes, or I'll let a scene play out. I know I'm pretty early days, but I still probably put 5 or 6 hours into it today. So, and you just, once you figure it out, and you figure it out a lot quicker than you can with a lot of games when you have to figure it out. But once you do, it's been fun. So I plan on kind of reporting back on that one again down the line.
I'm interested to see how it goes. Yeah, I haven't talked about or thought about Prince of Persia games in a long time.
Yeah. Look, if you want to watch reviews about it, check it out. It's on like a lot. I have it on my Switch because that was the most convenient way, but it's on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam, I believe. So whatever you do with it, do with it.
Whatever you do with it, do with it. Chase Skripek.
Yeah. So yeah, that one, that's the one I kind of want to talk about today. I actually wasn't going to talk about it, and then since I played so much of it, I was like, might as well talk about it. The game I want to sit here and talk to you about is a game that I played over the course of last week, and it is called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Have you heard of this game?
It sounds familiar. Hellblade sounds familiar. But enlighten me.
This one escaped me at the time because it came out in 2000, I believe 17 or 18. It's on the PS4 era of game. I saw an ad for the second one at the recent Game Awards. There was an ad for the sequel, and they had the actress that plays like the main character come out, and I was just like, people were pumped. I was like, what did I miss? I watched this trailer, and this game looked fucking awesome, dude. I was like, oh, whoa, like what is this? I want this game. I'll have to check out the first one. So it was on sale on the Steam sale for like $3, and I was just like, let's give this a whirl, dude. This game was, it may not be like the greatest game I've ever played of all time, but it is an exceptional piece of like art and just a really solid game, like all around solid game, and some very smart people made it. Essentially, you follow this character. Her name is Senua, and it's a game, it drops you right in the middle of like what the fuck's going on.
And medias res.
Yes. And you just have to solve the story around you and also figure out what the fuck's going on right from the beginning. Very hardcore, but you get it. You start to catch on pretty quick. This girl is on a journey to what you learn to be her like boyfriend, her lover. He got killed in some kind of raid. It takes place in like old Norse mythology type of shit. It's very Norse mythology. I thought of you about it a lot because it reminded me a lot of things from God of War.
I was going about to say, so like God of War.
And it kind of plays like God of War in a way. So she's trying to save this guy's soul. She has his head like in a bag that she carries on her because he got fucking killed in a raid, and like she thinks
also like God of War.
She thinks it was her fault because she thinks she's cursed. We'll get into that, and that's what caused these people to die. And she's going to save his soul from the gods. And you're just at the beginning of the game on a fucking rowboat rowing into this opening area of God of War kind of scenery.
Yeah,
but gets so much more dark. And you're rowing, and this is what tipped me off about this game. There are things that games do sometimes that they hit a chord in me that I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a different game. Like in Baldur's Gate, when I got to design my penis, I was like, right. Oh, this is going to be a different game. And I was right. So one of the first credits that pops up is mental health coordinator. And it was like somebody's name. And I was like, mental health coordinator? What the fuck?
You don't normally see that in the credits of video games.
You don't normally see that in the credits. And very quickly, you start to know why this person is named very early on. It's because the girl that you're playing as essentially is schizophrenic. She's absolutely schizophrenic as fuck.
Yeah.
They throw it off as kind of like a curse that you're trying to figure out through the game. But ultimately, she like figures out like, I'm not cursed. I'm just fucked up. And
schizophrenic.
But you just have these voices going on constantly. What are you doing? Oh, she's going to die. She's going to die. Why is she going there? I don't know. She's going to save Dillian. Like they're just constantly going off in your head, and you're like arguing with yourself. But you're solving the plot through these voices as well as you go on this journey through like the different layers of Norse worlds, essentially, because you end up the goal is to get to Helheim to save this guy's soul. So you're fighting your way through all the other areas to get to Helheim. And dude, this game, so that alone with like you're playing as a schizophrenic person, that this game is going balls to the wall to let she's schizophrenic.
Yeah,
you are blessed with this very interesting game of just like visual, because you have like a sight. You're like part of that curse is like you have the ability to see things, and you use that sight to solve a lot of puzzles. A lot of the puzzles in this game are visual, like you're trying to line up
runes.
Thank you. You're trying to line up the looks of like certain runes and like match the shapes to things like in the area. And sometimes you have to like make the shape out of things around you just with like your sight and where you're like standing. And that's just only one of the types of puzzles that are going on during this game that you're on this little adventure. And it's a lot of just walking around and shit like that. And then every once in a while you stumble into a fucking sword battle that's dope as shit, dude. It's like behind the back. You can parry and you can strike. And first it starts off with like one guy comes at you, and the game like teaches you how to fight just like once, and then they throw a couple at you, and you're constantly like moving, picking a target, and it's so in your face type of fighting style. So fun. And you don't get like a whole lot of those, but when they do show up, you're like, let's fucking roll. Let's go, bitch. And like you learn abilities to like do different things as you fight different types of enemies like that. So fun. So go ahead.
I was going to say, so I know where I've heard of this before.
Okay.
So Cosmonaut Variety Hour did an episode on this.
Okay.
Where he talks about it, and they say they recommend you play it with headphones.
I would recommend that, absolutely.
Yeah, because like the voices
will yes. There's a VR version that I got when I bought the game. I'd love to play this in VR.
And I also remember him giving it a 10 out of 10 and saying, it's one of the best games he's ever played, but also one of the most uncomfortable experiences he's had playing a game.
Very interesting because it is by all definitions a horror video game, but it's the mystery and the what the fuck is going on here, and the game kind of hits you with this like, hey, if you die a certain amount of times, you have to start this whole fucking thing over. So like every decision, every move you make is to make sure that you don't die however many times it's going to take to make you go all the way back to the game. It's not a long game. I beat this game in 8.5 hours of gameplay.
Oh yeah, that's not long at all. But
I wish more games were like that.
Yeah.
But I stormed it. I mean, I played it a lot because I couldn't really stop. And there was and that's the thing, the puzzles are challenging, rewarding, and very doable. There was literally only one the whole game that I had to look up. Only one. And it was just because like, and it was something stupid. Like I just didn't see these stairs that were like in this dark corner because it's hard to see. It's a very dark game. So I was just like, oh, fuck. If I would have just seen the stairs, I could have done the puzzle. I just didn't see the stairs. But that was it. And there's a lot of puzzles. And it's you know, it's a good brain workout. And then it's like, here, you're rewarded with a kick-ass like battle. And here's a new enemy that you got to like figure out how to fight it. And yeah, it's pretty sick.
So it takes intelligence. It takes, you know, I love games that test your ability as a gamer and you know your brain power and stuff.
You
like,
have
you know,
to think. You have to think
well,
to solve these puzzles.
You know, think. Yeah, nothing like a good puzzle.
I think you'd really enjoy it. And like I said, it's a quick game. Like you can play it. Like honest to God, if I just had like a whole day and I could just play it, you could probably finish this game in a day. But you will have a fun time playing it. And I thought of you. I thought of you. Because like I said, there's all these like, one thing that I forgot to mention was like, there are these like little stands throughout the game and they got little circles and they have runes on them and you have to like look at them. You have to like do the look, and this guy will start just telling you Norse mythology that follows kind of the story that you're playing through.
That's fun. Really
cool concept. And make sure, because it's like an alphabet that goes around the circle and each one you find checks one off the alphabet. Little note, make sure you try to get all of those, because you get a secret ending if you finish with all of them. I skipped a couple, which sucked, but like you are well rewarded for like listening in on those little voice memos as it tells you about like the story of the Norse gods and shit. And
well, I bet, because I'm definitely really ever since God of War, I've gotten more interested in Norse mythology.
I think this would be a fun story and game for you to just like get into like experiencing it like that.
Well, and you tell me you got through in 8.5 hours is also encouraging too, because with those kind of games where they're like, you know, they're meant to make you uncomfortable in certain aspects, you know, those can be very draining at times to play, but it's very doable if it's a short game. Yeah. But if it's like a 40-hour horror game, like I probably wouldn't finish it. Like I could
probably too.
Like with Dead Space 2, I love Dead Space 2. It's a great game. I never finished it because I just was so stressed every time I played it. And getting into a new area and finding a new enemy and getting jump scared in a different way that like I could not get through it.
Yeah.
And it was a longer game, but like 8.5 hours, it's very doable. Especially if it's an interesting story that like you want to see how it ends.
Yeah. And you do, because you're also just like, what the fuck is going on? It's one of those what the fuck is going on the whole time type of stories that like you're excited about, not like it ends and you're like, what the fuck was that about? You
slowly start to figure things out.
Yeah. And it made me all the more
pieces of the puzzle together.
And it ends very open-ended, so like it made me glad that I played it now, because the sequel's only coming out sometime this year. So I'm just like, all right, I get to hop right in. I'm pumped for this next one now, dude. Holy fuck. Such a good game. I played through it on my Steam Deck, but I will play the next one on my Xbox. That's how like
so it is. So I can get it on Steam.
It is on Steam, yeah.
Okay.
It's on Steam, Xbox, and I think the Switch.
I'll have to check it out.
Definitely. I could do probably a full video of me just talking about my thoughts and feelings on just this game.
Right, but you can't get into spoilers with me.
No, maybe another thing for the Patreon we could do, like you play through a game that I recommend, or I play through a game you recommend, and then we come and do just a whole episode on that. That could be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
This one gives you a lot to talk about, but it's got a little something for everybody, and it is horrifying at times and awesome at others and intense. Dude, I'm sitting like in public playing it and fucking trying to do a fight and watch it. And the boss fights also challenging, rewarding. You know, you got to think in those ones too. And it gets dicey sometimes, but it's so good. So that is my video game.
So you never died and had to go back and restart?
No. And I died, quite a few times.
What was the limit? Did they tell you? They let it know how many times you need to die?
No. And there was no way of knowing. You have like this plague that's going up your arm. It's like this black plague. Part of the story is like she thinks that's why she hears the voices in her head, because she thinks she's cursed. You learn a lot about it throughout the game, but like as you die, you start to see that black go up your arm. So I'm wondering if like eventually it just goes up your arm. I don't know, because I didn't die. Yeah. I mean, I didn't die that many times, I guess. So. Loved it. Couldn't wait to talk about it. When I finished this game, it made me all the more excited to jump on this podcast. And then more things happened. And I think one of my other things has taken over. But I forgot. There was another small thing that I wanted to just bring up real quick.
Yeah, bring it up.
What if I told you, Brayden, that there was this show that I was watching? And I think you've probably watched some of it too. But what if I told you there was a show that I was watching that had just a solid group of characters with a very interesting storyline between each and every individual character with each other. And throughout this, you're on a mystery of like, what the fuck's going on? Really big mystery. But there are also side mysteries going along with this mystery that make the mystery all the more juicy. And then what if I told you that some of these characters start off as good guys, become bad guys, you start to see who you thought were bad guys be good guys, and then you start to realize people are just people, and everybody's just who they are, and there are no good and bad guys. And
what would I say?
Yeah, well, I mean, is that how I started this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what would you think if everything I just told... Oh, don't forget, this show is full of zinging, like great writing, perfect big speeches the characters will give, blown away. You feel the emotion in a lot of the episodes, but certainly by the end. And what if I told you, Braden, that all these things I just mentioned were buried inside a 10-episode series about Godzilla?
Ah.
Dude, Monarch, season just ended. Dude, that show was fucking awesome. So good.
I'm episode 7 now, I believe.
7? Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Get through these next 3. The last episode, to me and Miranda, was so fucking good, man. So fucking good. Every scene. I was just like, and I just kept thinking, like, how is this fucking Godzilla? Everybody knows Godzilla, but everybody knows it's not the story that we're all in it for Godzilla. This fucking had it. And at the end of it, it had a big fucking Godzilla fight too. So it was just like, oh, gave you everything. Like, yeah, in the midst of all these things I just told you about the show, also big scary kaiju monsters show up from fucking time to time, almost every episode.
You show up from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I was so pleased with this fucking show. And by the time it ends, oh my god, there's so many layers to it. I don't know how to get too into it without spoiling it, but like I'm so glad I watched this show. I'm so glad it's as good as it is. Like it shouldn't be this good, because Godzilla X Kong is gonna come out. It's gonna be a fucking awesome movie with the monster fighting, but I guarantee you the human plot is not going to be anywhere near as good as this television show's just was.
Wow.
So, like, I can't wait if there's gonna be a season 2. They could leave it where they did. They called it a season finale, so I don't know. But, like, I'm so glad this show fucking exists. Dude, that episode. Here's how that episode went for me and Miranda. We would watch a scene. We were high. We would watch a scene, and then because of what that scene made us feel or think, we started talking, making jokes, but also talking about shit. And then we'd miss another scene. We'd like half watch a scene and then be like, we gotta rewind. That was probably something good. And then we'd watch another scene and it was something fucking good. And we were like, oh fuck, there's a lot to talk about there. That's how good this shit was. Kurt Russell gives a speech about humanity in the last episode that is just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is art. This is art.
For what I've seen so far, I definitely think Kurt and Wyatt are like some of the best parts of the show.
Absolutely.
Like
the idea to do that with them, genius. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That makes me excited to end the series because I mean, I just got to the part where, I guess, spoiler alert for Monarch, where they see Godzilla in the present day. Where he's just chilling out there and he suddenly shows. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, all right, things are starting to really pop off.
It really does. It does, because there's only like 3 more episodes. Like, I couldn't believe when the 9th episode ended. I had forgotten, and I looked and it was like, the season finale is next week. I was like, the season finale? Holy fuck. And they wrapped that bitch up.
Well, I'm excited to see how they wrap it up. I don't think the MonsterVerse gets enough credit for being like the second most successful extended universe out there next to Marvel.
Right, yeah.
Like kaiju, like monsters is the second most successful one out there.
Leaps and bounds.
Leaps and bounds.
And now with a show that, fuck, dude.
Which is also good, which is like, I just hope they continue to build on more, because I'm honestly pretty, like, my Godzilla knowledge, like the extended Godzilla knowledge is pretty weak. So I'm excited to see more of, like, the Godzilla verse, see other Godzilla monsters, see more lore about Godzilla himself.
I think we're gonna get some of that in this Kong X or Godzilla X Kong movie. I'm so excited about this, dude.
I'm pumped for that too.
I heard there's a 7-minute just straight kaiju battle scene. Like doesn't cut to people. Just monsters duking it out for 7
Whole
minutes.
monsters just wailing on each other.
I'm fucking jazzed, dude. Cannot wait. And they moved it up into March, and I'm just like, oh, let's fucking get. Now that the show just nailed it, I'm like, let's go, dude.
What I really want to see in the Godzilla X Kong movie is Godzilla jump up and do a flying double drop kick on his opponent, like in that one Godzilla movie.
We're not gonna do that anymore. That's why we're doing these. But he'll do some cool shit.
No, but actually, I'm very pumped with it. I love the lore of it. I love that like the villain, it looks like an orangutan type Kong. That like there's like other types of like species of Kong.
There was a toy leak, and they showed this like other lizard dragon, this like white lizard dragon thing that I guess Godzilla's probably gonna be fighting, since it's more of like a dinosaur like him.
Right, I'm assuming that
this
there's
thing looks fucking awesome too.
There's probably a second main villain that they're not showing.
Yeah,
just like they did with the other ones, where like
with Mechagodzilla.
I guess they showed Rodan a little bit in the
in the King of the Monsters one. They didn't have any surprises, but when Mechagodzilla showed up at the end of Godzilla versus Kong, that was a surprise.
That was a surprise.
So,
which we always assumed with that, like
there was a toy leak for Mechagodzilla too, so that's how I knew he was coming. But if I hadn't seen that toy, if I had no idea that Mechagodzilla, if I would have learned that during that fucking movie, I would have been dude. I was what, 28? I would have looked like I was 6 years old at that point. I would have been so, because that's how I felt watching it. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
Like if a 6-year-old me could see that movie, his eyeballs would fucking blow the hell up. He'd be like, this is everything I live for.
It's just nice that we have a universe where there's giant monsters that are fighting each other. Does it make sense? No, but it works, and it doesn't have to make any logical sense, because it's not the real world. It's their world, and it makes sense in their world that, like, of course the government would build, or I don't know if it was the government, but of course they would build a secret Mecha Godzilla to fight Godzilla and become the new alpha. And because humans would try and do that in this universe, because that's just like the way the logic of this universe works. And I love that, like, it's something seen as like silly, but it's like badass.
They take it very seriously.
They take it super, and they need to. Like, they can't like be tongue in cheek, like wink wink, isn't this weird? Like, no, it's like, this is happening, this is real, we're gonna get fucking crushed, we gotta do something.
Yeah. And it's the second most successful, and I don't think it's
XTC universe's ass.
Yeah, no doubt. Everything else that's tried, basically.
Yeah.
So pumped. Can't wait for that. And it was all due to Monarch. So that's my second kind of shout out, is like that show really came together, and it's a great
on Apple Plus TV.
On Apple Plus, yeah. And I thought, hell, damn, we just watched some great writing there. Is there more great writing in my life or in my future? So my main topic for tonight is Marina and I watched Arcane. Finally got around to watching Arcane.
Never watched Arcane?
Did not. I watched the first episode around when it came out, and it was like just a busy season, and I just didn't get back to it. I finally, the trailer for the second season dropped, little teaser. I didn't watch it, but I was like, okay, a second season's coming. I should probably jump on this bandwagon. I want to watch this. So we started it. Holy fucking God, dude. What was I fucking waiting for? I was delaying joy.
I had it in my memory that you'd already watched it.
No. Fuck. And I'll never forget it. Damn. What an exceptional, just juicy television show.
Exceptional writing, exceptional animation, exceptional action scenes.
Yeah. This show is a piece of art in its own right, just like I said with Hellblade, because God fucking damn, I don't even know where to begin when talking about this series other than contender for the greatest television show ever fucking made. Oh my God.
First off, are you a fan of League of Legends?
I don't know dick about League of Legends.
Me neither.
Yeah,
and that's how good this series is. This is a series based off of the video game League of Legends. Like, the characters in it are League of Legends characters that you can play, and I didn't know any of them. I don't know anything about League of Legends. I've never played League of Legends.
I've seen people play it.
No, I haven't even seen people play League of Legends. I'm not even sure how it's played.
It's not my kind of
game. I've never had any interest in it, but everyone was saying, like, this show is fantastic, and you don't need to know anything about League of Legends to get into it, and that is true, because neither of us know anything about League of Legends, and we both love it.
Loved it. Loved it. I couldn't get away from it. I was captivated by it. I don't know what else to say. There are
topic. Yeah.
Let me just start with the art. Just the base animation of this show, like it's how it looks regularly, outstanding. So gorgeous to look at, so well done. The detail in almost every lick of animation is just beautiful. And when the battle scenes take place, oh my god. When they try to be artsy with a scene, when they try to be real artsy animators, for
which
just
are usually
certain
the battle
scenes,
yeah.
Holy fucking baloney. That shit's so good. So good.
My favorite
evokes emotion with saying nothing.
So I'll tell you my favorite scene, like I guess my personal favorite scene, and then you can tell me yours. When it gets artsy is when I think the guy with the skateboard, or is it a skateboard or a hoverboard and dreadlocks, where like he's like the character, like the young character at the beginning, and then like when you see him growing up.
When he does his battle with the little sister.
Yeah, and he comes in, and I'm like you don't really think that this guy could fight before. Like he's grown up now, but like you didn't really see what his movesets are, and like I don't know, just the way they introduced him and like his fighting style and just like how it all plays out. It's just so good.
So yeah, that's a hell of a good scene. That's a hell of a good scene.
They all have their own like specific themes and like specific sound, like music that accompanies them. That's like unique to their character when they show up in a fight.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah. I don't know what my favorite scene would be, even on that level. There were just so many different ones. Anytime the little sister was having like a psychological breakdown, holy fuck.
Jinx.
Yeah. Jinx. Oh my god. Anytime that even when they introduce the little man's like crew in like the 5th episode or something, like the episode starts with just this odd, it's like animated oddly, they're doing like a performance and you're just like, what the fuck? But you go along with it because it's just so good. And then you remember, oh, that's right, they got kidnapped by these people. Like the story is just so, ooh, you just can't stop digging into it. One thing that I think the show really did so well too was like each individual character is such a unique and fun character to follow, whether they are good or bad, because it's just another show where like nobody's really all of either.
And remember, these are all actual League of Legends like playable characters. Yeah. So they all have their own unique theme. They have their own unique fighting style, unique, like some of them use weapons, some of them are, close quarters, some of them are long range, some of them are, speedsters. Like, the little sister, her main thing is like bombs and trickery and stuff. Like she's called Jinx, and she's, always making explosives and blowing shit up, and she's crazy. Like that's another thing. She's like mentally insane pretty much because of like the stuff that she's been through, and her backstory. And, it just works so well. And yeah, it gives a flavor to each character where like each character is someone's favorite character.
And you have no idea where they're taking each and who's pairing up. At the beginning of the show, I would have never guessed half the pairings that take place in this are the ones that happen. Because fuck, and how all those characters play off each other individually is just so rich.
They're even all interwoven in some way.
There is like you follow a cop who is like the background cop when he's introduced, and you learn so much about this cop who is like, kind of a dirty cop ultimately, but like he has a daughter and he's doing this to protect his daughter. And it's like, why do I know so much about this fucking nothing guy? And why do I care? And the show really makes you care. And you feel that way from like him, this like kind of background guy who is now a main guy, to like who you consider to be the main fucking characters. Right. And every time you see somebody that you're like, fuck this person, eventually the show makes you go, maybe they're not that bad though. Like maybe they're like this for a reason. So good.
Yeah, there's no wasted space or wasted time in the series. Like everything matters. Every character is utilized well. Every person has a part in the story to play that is important, and you couldn't cut any of the characters really.
They have you with everything they're doing almost. There are so many scenes throughout every episode where you are at the edge of your seat because you don't know what's about to happen next.
Yeah.
And there are scary moments. There was a part in the last episode that I was like, did they just fucking do this? And they didn't do the thing I thought they were going to do, but I thought the show was very well capable of doing something like that. I won't get into that. It's a big spoiler.
Yeah, especially because we have no connection to these characters beyond this, so we really don't know what's going to happen.
No idea. And
I also think
I mean, like that.
I think League of Legends does have its own like lore or like background lore and stuff, but I don't know how much the show follows that or if the show is making its own story. I think it's making its own story.
Would make sense to me. I mean,
yeah.
If not, they need to snatch these writers up because it almost makes me understand why, you know, people are so butthurt when not great things come out because, man, we have people that are capable of so much, and whoever worked on this is holy fuck, dude. With every layer, the voice acting, the writing, the animation, everything. There are
you give the right people the right time and the right resources, and they can make something amazing.
There are quotes that characters say throughout this series that like resonate. You hear them and you're just like, fuck, that's so good. I can't believe somebody thought to say these things or make characters say these things. And it's just, it's a fucking cartoon on Netflix.
Yeah, that's way better than it has any right to be.
My God, I was completely blown away by it. Like the first episode, I had to rewatch it because, like I said, I watched it before, and it was, you know, I was still like, oh yeah, this is good. And then it just got into the second episode, and now it kind of tied all the characters from the very beginning together, and it does like the time jump, and it just, man, it nailed it. It nailed it. I felt everything the show wanted me to feel, and I was there for it. And I'm so glad I watched it now because, like I said, if I would have seen something this good and I had to wait years for the next season, because it does kind of end on a cliffhanger.
It is right. Like it came out in 2020, I believe.
Yeah, or 2020, 2021. One of those.
2021, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about going on 3 years, I believe, since season 1 came out.
So, like in a weird way, it does wrap up the whole story it's telling throughout the season, but it leaves such a window, an important window open, and then literally there's a cliffhanger. It's just like, fuck, I can't wait. That's when I told Miranda right away. I was like, as soon as that second season drops, we are just going to sit and watch that because that's how into this we got in one viewing.
I'm going to have to rewatch this, the first season, because the second season is going to come out soon, and I have forgotten things. And...
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot there. It's like Game of Thrones, but better.
Right.
And I think it'll nail whatever ending it's trying to get to, but like it doesn't even have to. It's the closest thing good.
The closest thing I can compare it to, at least in terms of animation style, with like how good the animation is Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, at least in like an interesting, unique way,
stylized animation kind of way, like hype. Like it's. I guess you could call it like hyper animated. Like it's not hyper realistic animation, but it's like hyper animation, and it's just like animation on steroids, and you know, super stylized.
Especially
like they really let the animators, you know, flex their creative muscles with a lot of those scenes.
Yeah,
and it's just beautiful to watch.
As it touches every one of your heartstrings as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the writing is on par with the animation, and the animation goes super hard.
Yeah, and the story is just so on every level. You are surprised with every decision that is made, almost, and it's like,
yeah,
holy fuck! Like even like character relationships, I thought I was gonna get certain relationships that happen. I was just like, I did not see this one coming, but like they are making it work, and they are selling me on it.
And on paper, it shouldn't. A League of Legends adaptation. Which League of Legends, it's a popular game, but it's still pretty niche in terms of like a general audience. Like most people watching this probably have never played League of Legends.
There's 2 right here.
Yeah, and you know it was one of the most highly acclaimed shows of its time when it...
Oh, as soon as it was done, I was like, I gotta go back and see what people were thinking, and like to see it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like 10s across the board. I was just like, okay, yeah, because I thought so as well. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm feeling this one. Like sometimes I think something's really good. I'll look at it. It's like, not everybody thinks that, but this one I was like, there's no fucking doubt in my mind that people like this.
There's not really any there's no opposition camp that hates this show.
Yeah, at least especially if you've watched
it. All a number that they're insignificant.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to him anyways. I'd be like, you and I are like fucking oil and water, which is the name of an episode. Pretty good one too. Fuck yeah, that's another one I'd love to just talk spoiler just for a while about it, because I truly think it was one of the best things I've watched in a while, and I've watched a lot of good things.
Yeah, I'll likely rewatch it soon, and we can talk all about it because, like I said, I watched it, but I watched it when it came out back in 2021. So a lot of the details are fuzzy to me. I just remember really liking it.
Yeah.
And, trying to put it out of my mind for a while because I knew it was going to be a while until I got a payoff for season 2.
Yeah. Dude, I can't imagine. I remember thinking the way between like the first season of Korra and the second season of Korra was long, and it was only really like a year and a half, but it felt like an eternity because there wasn't a lot of info. There has been years. Now it's like typical for a show to be gone for years without anything.
Especially one with this much tender love and care put into it. Like,
sure,
you want them to take their time on it. Like,
absolutely.
You don't want them to
I'm glad to know they did. I'm glad to know they did. They have to.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they will deliver, if not on par, at least on par, probably an even better second season.
I hope so. And even if it is on par, it's a fucking good par. I don't know much about par, but that par is par.
That par is hard to surpass anyways, because it's already at the top.
Full torque par. Yeah. I think that's a fun idea. I think if you rewatch the season and I keep it fresh in my mind, another thing look out on our Patreon for, we'll throw up me and Brayden doing a full spoiler review of Arcane because God damn, it's good every episode through, and it only gets better. Like the first episode, that's a pretty good episode of television. Boom, second episode, oh wow, that was a good episode of television, and this is getting better. And it just like keeps doing that until the very fucking end.
Which it still amazes me that you never watched it until now, because like I said, like I just had it in my mind that we'd already talked about this on the podcast because I'd assumed we had, because I remember watching it and loving it and things, and it was also wild that you just mentioned it because I hadn't thought about it in a while because, like I said, I tried to put it out of my mind for a long time because I knew it was going to be a long payoff. But I just saw it again recently on Netflix, and I was like, I need to rewatch season 1 of Arcane because I think season 2's due to be out soon.
Sometime this year.
And I need to rewatch that. And then, and that wasn't long. Like that was like yesterday or the day before where I just thought about it again.
We're on each other's minds.
Yeah.
We feel each other through the cups.
Yeah, these cups are really special.
These are good
like
cups.
We said, cup and string technology has come a long way since then, where we have a little telescope interface and, even an emotional interface.
Yeah, it's like you are here, even though there's this storm between us.
Yep. Poetic.
Yeah. Well, I hope you watch it. I'm glad that we were on this wavelength because, yeah, I mean, we started watching it last week, but I knew as soon as I was done, I was like, fuck, do I want to talk about this show right now? And I'm so glad. All these things, the video game, yeah, I was really looking forward to talking about all this shit.
Well, good. I'm glad that you are finally caught up with it because, yeah, that's a series that I knew you would love, and I thought you'd already seen it.
It's kind of like Sam Atwell not seeing the Lord of the Rings. It's just one of those things. Yeah, you probably thought I had seen it. It's totally up my alley.
Yeah,
I just hadn't, and lots of people told me to watch it, and I had heard that it was really good. I was just like, I will get to it, and I started making a list of things I want to tackle for the podcast this year, and Arcane was on that list, and then I saw the trailer or the little teaser, and I was like, all right, I'll check this out. And I'm never going back, baby. Fucking love it.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, and like you said, you did pick a good time to actually watch it because you don't have to wait as long as everyone else.
Nope. Because, dude, I mean, I love things so much. Sometimes waiting for them hurts.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to do that. I've done that before and I don't do it again. So I got a lot of things I want to tackle.
I remember that. I remember Kingdom Hearts 3 era.
Dude, fuck.
And I came in at the tail end of that.
You came in, right at the end of a long wait.
Yeah, how near inconsolable you were until it came out.
It was something. It was tough times. It was a lot like the final Game of Thrones book where like years went with no information. You're like, it's a pipe dream. And I was like, no, there's going to be a Kingdom Hearts 3. It's coming.
Yeah.
They were doing all these other games just like George is writing all these other fucking books. It's kind of the same. And then one day out of nowhere, he's going to be like, it's coming. And you'll understand. You'll understand. You're still not quite Kingdom Hearts 3 yet. It's close, but you're not there yet.
I'm at the point of giving up on Kingdom Hearts 3 on Winds of Winter.
Right.
Where I gave up on that
Yeah.
Probably 5 years ago.
That's probably a better group to be in because, like, for those of us that hold on hope, until you see it, until it's there, it's all you have is hope.
You're at the don't do that. Don't give me hope stage.
Yeah. I think it'll happen. Which kind of reminds me, there was one more little thing I wanted to talk about on the show tonight is...
Yeah, you mentioned you had 5 things. I believe we've hit 4?
Yeah, probably. And I have... This one's not... I'm not going too in-depth with it, but I gave myself a little year-long project I want to work on, kind of, for the show. And I decided... Because I also started, like, watching videos and playing a little of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And I was like, you know... I really, really like The Witcher. I really appreciate the story that I know is in The Witcher. I like the show when it came out, even though I don't like it so much these days. I am going to go back and go from the beginning with The Witcher and earn Witcher 3. So my journey this year is, for every podcast, or maybe every other podcast, I'm going to try to read one of the books in the series.
Nice.
So I'll have
I love the Witcher books.
Yep. So I'm working through the Last Wish because I read which is the chronological order to read them in. So that's the way I'm going.
Yeah.
So I started the Last Wish, which I am quarter of the way through. I'll wrap that up, and that'll be the next podcast where I'll talk about that whole book. And then, like I said, as we go throughout the year, I plan on reading all of them. And then we're going to get to a point where, like, I'll take a month and play, like, the first Witcher game, the second Witcher game. Work my way up to The Witcher 3.
Right, because The Witcher 3 is a masterpiece, but it is the third installment of a franchise on the backs of, I believe, is it 7 books?
I think it's 8 books.
Or 8 books of lore. So there's a lot of things in The Witcher 3 that you just kind of go like, okay, yeah, this is a character that they've known from a previous installment, and you just go along with it. And it's fine, because The Witcher 3 is a great game on its own.
It works.
But
if you
realize
want the whole package.
Yeah, there's a lot you're missing because if you're not familiar with the background lore.
And they're big games. They're 40, 50, 60, 70, 100-hour-long video games.
Yeah.
You want to know what the fuck's going on if you're going to commit that much time to it.
Yeah, because nearly every character that you meet in The Witcher 3 has some kind of connection to their past from a previous book or a previous game.
And that's what I'm working on. And that's what I thought, you know what? I want to give myself a little side quest of my own this year. Forgot to mention side quests with Prince of Persia. It's also one of these types of games that has side quests in it too. So while you're doing all this other shit, there's people that are like, oh, go look for this for me too. And like, you're rewarded for those side quests. Just wanted to hit that real quick.
Yeah.
But that's my side quest, is I'm going to work on these Witcher books and the games and try to like become a Witcher fan.
That's a fantastic side quest. I have not played Witchers 1 or 2. I have read all the books. Mm-hmm. I love the books. You know, even the ones that are just short stories.
That's the one I'm on right now, yeah, one of them.
That aren't super connected to the rest of the story. Because the first 2 books in the Witcher series, the Witcher series starts out odd, where the first 2 books are a collection of short stories. Mm-hmm. Some of those short stories are important and connect to the greater plots of the later books, but a lot of them are like one-off adventures. But they're fun, and they're still good. But then once it gets into the 3rd book, that's where it gets more into telling a linear storyline.
Right, and that's what I'm working my way into that, because I want to follow that linear storyline. Though these side ones are also, like the first 2 that I've read so far, I love the way this guy writes, so I'm like interested. I can't wait to see it become its own full story and see, like, I want to see what everybody's fucking hating the show about. I want to be like, all right, what's this good shit that I know that's in these books?
Yeah. Well, I've even connected that like a lot of the short stories are like twists on classic fables and classic storylines. Like there's one which they tell in the Witcher season 2 in the show. They show a part of this, but one is like a play on Beauty and the Beast. One is a play on Sleeping Beauty. One is a play on Cinderella. But they're all like darker, more like the original versions of these stories. The
first chapter is like the Sleeping Beauty thing, and
with the
and there was an episode, so it was cool because like I was reading the chapter, but like I was like they did this in the show, so I knew it. But it was fun to read it still, even though I knew how it played out. I dug it. So that's my job. I hope when the next time we cover this, I'll at least have finished The Last Witch and maybe the next one, but I'll at least try to finish The Last Wish. I have the first 3 in my living room, and then we'll go through the year as I talk about every once in a while my Witcher journey.
Well, I'm excited to hear about them. That's another fantasy world that I am in love with. Yeah. And I do eventually want to play the first 2 games as well.
I have all 3, so there was a Steam like sale bundle where you could get all of them. I've never even attempted to play the first or second, but we'll see.
It's hard for me when I jump in on like a 3rd installment or like a later installment of a video game franchise.
Gate 3.
Yeah, where I hadn't played the original, where I'm like, I feel it's hard to go back to the earlier titles because I know that they're going to be, they're older games, so they're going to be less polished than what I'm used to, or jankier, or, less developed, but they were good enough games to warrant sequels. So that means that they're good games on their own to play. So I will eventually get back to them.
I'll tell you all about it when I hit them.
Yeah.
That is the goal.
Yeah, tell me if they're worth it.
Yeah, that's the way I looked at my calendar on this. Don't expect to hear me talk about the first game till at least I think it's like June or July.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they're long games, so I expect they're going to take you a hot minute to actually get through.
Yeah, I'm going to put them all on my Steam Deck and play them at work because that's the only place I'm going to have time to fucking play that much video game. Don't know if I should say that on live television. Yeah, so that's it. That's literally all I got. Yep. All of it.
Well, that's great. We got way more time into this than I expected.
I'd say that's the show then. That's all we got for everybody. Folks. That's Nerd Shit in the Dark.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Porky Pig.
I know the guy. Yeah, we are Nerd Shit in the Dark. We're on Spotify, Apple Pod. We're on everywhere podcasts are. I'm just gonna say that from now on. We're on where lots of pods. Just look us up. You'll find us.
If you look for us, we will come.
Follow us. Yeah, and like I said, if you've listened to this episode, we have plans for the free Patreon. So follow us there too, and fucking see what we might drop down the road. I feel like I'm always forgetting something.
Did you turn your oven off?
Oh, fuck. Oh, God, no. I forgot. I was working on the cups, and I left the oven on.
Damn it.
Okay, so stay warm, buddy. We'll see you next time.
We'll do. I'll keep this cup for later use.
We might need it. And like I said, I'll get a long rest tonight, so I could do the move again. But if we just leave them like this, as long as the snow doesn't blow them anywhere, we should be good.
Yeah.
All right,
Eddie.
Well, good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the shit bugs bite.
Right. Toodles.